Hi, my name is Ashish, and welcome to the Avya podcast. This podcast, we feature people who are traveling to Rishikesh and who have such amazing talents and such an amazing energy. And we want to call these people and hear their stories and share some of their knowledge with the world. And so I have with me Gabi, and welcome to Avya. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
And so in our earlier conversation, I got to hear that you were in Rishikesh just prior to the time me coming to Rishikesh. I came here in October of 2021, and that was just immediately post the lockdown. And you told me you were here during the period of the lockdown. So, what was that period like, and how did you get there? And you've come back here now.
Yes, I'm back in Rishikesh after 2.5 years, I guess. And I came to Rishikesh for the first time in Jan 2020. I felt that I wanted to know yoga, like practice and get to know deeper about yoga from the true knowledge. That was my goal. Being in touch with people who could learn and yoga from the original manuscripts.
Yeah.
And I come from a family of scientists, mostly from health,
Hmm.
medical doctors, nutritionists, psychologists. So I love science. And nowadays, spirituality and science are merging. Science is every day more able to measure things that in the past were not able to measure, and to explain things that in the past used to be so abstract and impossible. So also I wanted to learn from people that is into science and knows how to differentiate what is real and what is not.
Or sometimes, in other words, they say phony holy. And were you able to find nice teachers during those days?
It was kind of very challenging for me. When I came here, I asked a few friends that had the TTC, the teacher training here, which were their school, and none of them let me know which school they did the TTC. They asked me to come and check the vibes, like choose a yoga school according to the vibes. And I found out that in Rishikesh, you can find diversity. You can find people that is very committed and very serious about this path, this science, this art of yoga and Ayurveda also. And I found that it's public that there are a lot of fake gurus. People who can be very dangerous because they have knowledge, and sometimes they are not conscious about the way they share the knowledge, and sometimes they are conscious that they are sharing this knowledge with a dark intention behind. The most popular dark intentions are money and sex. We know that yet.
And there's so many young women who come to Rishikesh, and they would be probably quite impressionable. And from these gurus, they would be, I mean, for lack of better words, easy target.
Yes, we if we come to Rishikesh, it's because we are wide open to be vulnerable, because that's the only way we can heal. We can reprogram our nervous system if we talk with the right words.
Hmm.
And we need to believe.
Yes.
We need to be open and believe, because if not, if we are not open, the miracle cannot happen. And this knowledge, deep knowledge about yoga and Ayurveda, Tantra, etc., we can find here is very like it's a big contrast with the Western philosophy. They merge in some points because the root is here. We only can find the root here, always and again and again.
I think we just being in Rishikesh have this natural advantage of being near the Gangaji and the energy which that has around it. And for people who are receptive, I think it's given a lot of good energies and a lot of healing.
Yes, uh, having the chance to experience a deep in the Ganga and integrating that as a practice, as a routine, as a habit during our process can be very transforming. Like, it's kind of challenging experience, like being able to talk about the experience we feel when we feel Ganga
Yeah.
holding us, right?
Hmm.
Uh, it's very deep.
So, as I understand, you had been through trauma in your life, and then you were in Rishikesh for 2.5 years, and now you are leading workshops and helping people with trauma. And so, from someone who was in trauma to someone today is being able to help so many people with her trauma workshops. And what was Rishikesh within that? What was the Gangaji within that? A little bit of your own journey from
Hmm.
trauma to teaching people about how to cope with trauma.
Mm. We all go through trauma. It's something that is part of our path in this reality. There are people that go through less trauma, more trauma, and the way we cope with trauma is related to so many things that can go around, like the environment, the way we have been developing our emotional skills since the womb of our mom, mostly till the 7 years old. In my case, Rishikesh gave me so much, like, very meaningful tools for triggering, being able to clean the nadis, which is the main purpose of yoga. When we practice yoga, we are trying to liberate the blockages of our system so we can feel the life force, the prana, in our daily life, right? So we can reconnect with life and with God and with the universal consciousness that we are. The fact is that when we practice yoga and we don't know how to manage emotions when they get triggered, because if we are pushing blockages, when they start being in movement, that feels like a very uncomfortable emotion or disease, even.
It's unreleased emotions which the primary cause of disease. In fact, I keep repeating this after having just learned it quite recently that the word disease comes from dis-ease. That's the lack of ease. And it's these unreleased emotions which cause the lack of ease and which probably then manifest into the various diseases. And yeah, and that's something I think you understand so well since you're so closely dealing with trauma.
Yes, and it's very easy also coming here and getting injured, for example, because the programs of schools are mostly intense, because we are part of a society that we want everything right now,
Yes.
this urgency. And there is something that is very interesting to remind is that we cannot hurry the process. We just can learn how to hold ourselves, how to be present for our process, so we can get nurtured and wiser through it. Believe me, I know what it means, or how it feels wanting to hurry a process. I really wanted to feel better, and I was obsessed doing my practices all day, every day when the lockdown started, because my TTC was over, and the next day the lockdown started. So I said to myself, okay, what I'm going to
You were
do?
destined to be here. You were
Yes.
destined. The next day the lockdown starts. People usually leave 3 days after their TTCs. That's the average.
I was going to do Vipassana. That was my plan, and then go into Southeast Asia, volunteering as a yoga teacher. That was my beautiful and perfect plan, and that was not possible. So I said, okay, I'm gonna practice. I'm gonna practice all the things that I've been learning. I'm gonna be like developing the skills. Okay, so I was overstretching myself because I wanted now. I want to be more flexible
Yes.
now. I want to
How
be.
can my friends do the back handstand and me not do it, right?
Yes, yes, and also comparing to myself. Like, I don't know if I was comparing to others, but I was comparing to myself in a very toxic way.
Okay.
So there was a point in which my body said to me, "You're not gonna abuse me anymore."
You had certain injuries.
Yes, my sciatica pain didn't allow me to sleep
Okay.
all day, feeling pain. Like, it was terrible. And at that point, everything was totally shut down. You know that. So I was not able to ask for help. Police didn't allow.
Hmm.
So I had to learn how to manage my emotions, the emotions that arise through that.
So it
And
was initially
accept.
forced on you, and then at some point the acceptance came.
Yes. After a lot of frustration and a lot of uncomfortable emotions, you can imagine.
When I came to Rishikesh, I had noticed that there was this very close knit community who were there during this lockdown period in Rishikesh. Very beautiful people, and most of them left within the first 3 4 months back to their homes now that things had opened up. And I would be just wondering whether you were a part of that community. They used to be around the Secret Garden, and just there was a whole everyone knew everyone at that time.
It was such an amazing experience. Like, we used to walk every day the same paths, and we used to cross paths with the same people every day. So sooner or later,
Hmm.
we were meeting each other and being able to know the name of the other person, what's the background of that person. So it became like a huge campus.
Yeah.
Rishikesh for me was a campus in which everyone was living in their own space, like some people in ashrams, some people in guest houses, and so on. But every day we used to gather to exchange something.
Sometimes at Muktan Cafe.
My place, definitely, I lived a few months in Lakshman Jula, in the other side of the bridge. So that there our space used to be the public space, the beaches, Baba Beach, the Ghats, where we used to gather every sunset, take our dip in Ganga, and jump.
Hmm.
And the different like cafes, German bakery, Little Buddha, definitely. So it used to be
Your
every
face
day.
is lighting up talking about all these places.
Yes, yes, yes. I have so much beautiful memories because we were all one family at that point. There was a
Lovely.
point in which all of us we were not able to support physically in our families, like
Hmm.
finding the support in our families physically. So we decided as a community, okay, we're going to be family for this time.
Lovely. Lovely.
And we were all the time learning something. Like, if it was not astrology, it was crystals and tarot and Reiki and yoga, of course, was the
Yeah.
platform, and Ayurveda and human design and Enneagram and trauma, of course. Trauma.
You know,
Trauma?
many of these things I had never heard about in a city. Like I had never known what is a cacao ceremony before when I was living in the city before coming to Rishikesh, and yeah. So to someone who is living a regular corporate life and is low in energy and they don't even think that they have any traumas to them, but they are usually slightly having obesity, overweight, and I think we've seen that many of these people have certain traumas. But what would your advice be to them?
Hmm. Trauma is something that we all experience, and a situation doesn't need so much traumatic to be traumatic. So it can be very simple in others people's eyes and can be very traumatic for our nervous system. So sometimes we say, okay, my life is perfect. I have everything I wanted.
Hmm.
I have a supporting family. I have a good job, the job I've been dreaming of. I have my career. I like my career. I choose my career. I have all that I want and all that I need. And I still feel empty. Okay? So it's important that we understand that also trauma doesn't need to come from our own experience. There is something that is called transgenerational trauma, and it's explained, like science can explain it, like these memories that our ancestors went through and were traumatic for them will be stored in the DNA for our safety.
Right.
So we
This is
receive
making
that.
so much sense. This is making so much sense. So obviously, that's when they say that when a lady is pregnant, she should only have the nicest energies because that time that DNA would be the most susceptible to any trauma. So
Yes,
yeah, and
but
therefore people carry this over generations. It's yeah for the survival, right?
yes, but
It's
imagine. I mean, it's not only during the pregnancy; it's in our DNA. So whatever happened to our grandfathers, grandfathers, our fathers, it's in the DNA and it comes sooner or later. Like, and as more developed are we as human beings, so we have the possibility to fulfill the basic needs and go further, more chances are that we start somatizing the trauma that our ancestors couldn't heal.
And is there a way you can get rid of this ancestral trauma?
Yes, through different kind of therapies that integrate not only the mind, because talking about trauma is very important, like expressing our truth is very important, but it's also important moving the body, because the trauma is in the DNA, so we need to move the body, so the trauma stores on the body, on the tissues, so we need to move the body to in order to allow these blockages to find a way out and detoxify our system from this. So
Right.
the mind is very important. Talking about the trauma is important. Acknowledging the trauma is important. Recognizing, allowing is important. And also moving the body through the process is very important. And finding a therapist that can merge both is very important and very challenging, because nowadays science is talking about the trauma and explaining trauma through the neurosciences, and we are now understanding that trauma has been in the body, and psychology is a very new science. So most of the people who studying psychology in the college or university are studying from the traditional psychology that is still around mind. Okay, so these days neuroscience is starting to be integrated in the psychology field, and it's very important that therapists, all kind of, can understand, experience, practice, both working together, so they can share that. We can share that.
That's so well summed up. And movement is, yeah, I think people always keep thinking that the mind and the body are two different things, but they're really actually one thing. And there's some memory in each cell of ours, as in the DNA, as you mentioned, and there's obviously the mind. And there cannot be real movement and progress in the mind till there's not progress in the body. So I think both of these things are so interlinked that one has to be even physically active and move at the same time, do the other practices which are for the mind, which is at least traditionally thought to be just alone for the mind.
Yes.
And so, what are your plans from here, Gabby? How do you wish to reach out to people? And
My plans in Rishikesh. I'm gonna wait. Okay. So one of the my main plan when I came to Rishikesh was prioritizing myself and my own journey. That's something that I do always.
hmm,
So I came here for Panchakarma, which is a very old treatment from Ayurveda, this traditional medicine from India that is recognized by the organization, like World Health Organization, that is actually very good for releasing trauma in a physical way,
hmm,
because what it does is taking all the toxins from the body and detoxifying them tissue by tissue.
Yeah.
So basically, I did that. It's the second time that I do it. It's amazing. It's a very deep process. Not only physically, it's very transformational. It's also emotional because when we move that, we're moving memories, right? So it's something that I recommend to people if they are ready to go deep and be present. And since it's been so meaningful to me, I am bringing a group for Panchakarma in October of Spanish speakers and also English speakers. And not only that, because I really appreciate what we can learn and experience here in Rishikesh.
There's so many different kind of talents out here. People all the way from shamanic healers to massage therapists who have learned massages in 6 different countries to people who've studied Iyengar yoga to vinyasa to from some of the great sirs and who just keep further learning all the time. Such amazing people who are practicing here, and most of them are out here because they love being in Rishikesh. They could probably earn a far better livelihood outside of Rishikesh with their talents, but they prefer to be here in Rishikesh at least for some part of the year. So you've just come back now, and you're going to meet a wealth of people here in Rishikesh.
Yes, we're crossing paths with these inspiring people, and it's so beautiful.
Did you meet any people from back before the lockdown?
A lot.
A lot?
Yes.
Yes,
So
lovely.
beautiful, so beautiful. Like recognizing each other and saying like, yes, we're back. Yes, a lot. It's so beautiful. It feels so good. So I was telling you that I will bring in a group not only for Panchakarma, also for a training in the University of Gurukula Kangri,
Oh, wow.
where it's the first university that studied yoga and Ayurveda in an academic level in India. And all the people who taught me has been graduated in that university. So my way back is bringing a group of people that really wants to go deep into yoga and Ayurveda from the true knowledge from scientists and people that is practicing this from a good space. And after that, we're going to be doing a pilgrimage around the most sacred places here in the Himalayas where the masters used to walk and spread their wisdom, where all these rishis that wrote the Vedas used to live and chant their mantras that are still resonating here, right? So this is one of my projects about.
That's such an amazing thing, and they'll get to experience from you who's spent time firsthand out here and an extended period of time, and whose own journey through out of trauma and to helping people with trauma. So they would not be able to get better hands, you know, to make them experience some of these magics which are there in Rishikesh and around. So it'll be such an amazing experience for them. And I haven't done most of the things that you are mentioning about, including the Panchkarma ever. So
It takes courage. It's something that it takes time to feel really aligned to do that, and it's okay. It's okay.
yeah.
And meanwhile, that is gonna happen. I will be offering even here in Avia, which I appreciate, like the invitation. My 3-day program, intense program about trauma, which is called Reconectando con tu bienestar in Spanish, and means reconnecting with your well-being in English. In which in 3 days we go very deep, very deep.
And you promised to get them out, right? After getting them in.
I promise.
Yes, okay.
I promise that you will feel better after that.
Lovely.
Yes. So we'll go very deep into trauma, emotions, and yoga, different practices. theory, so we can understand the mind, we can understand the trauma, we can understand where our blockages and lack of satisfaction is coming from, and we can reprogram all that through love, through compassion, through acceptance, allowance, and nurturing. And people can learn how to this themselves daily in their lives when they feel triggered, and how to practice yoga every morning when they wake up. So that's very important to me, offering tools that can be sustained in their journey, consistent, because consistency is very important in our healing journey.
It is. It is. At least doing something every day which makes you feel better. Maybe some chanting. What would be your favorite like mantra? Which one would you chant on a regular basis?
I have my, like, I practice transcendental meditation, so I have my own mantra, which I cannot share.
Okay.
And I practice daily also. My guru mantra, Mahavatar Babaji is my guru.
Wow.
And I also listen to several mantras that has been very transforming for me. Actually, I recorded them on studio. We compose the music, so it's easier to meditate with them and feel that it people can find that in Spotify or
Well,
Apple
they
Music,
may listen to
whatever.
your Spotify, but you're going to have to give them a sample of what they're going to get out there. So, would you like to sing a line or two?
Okay, I can sing Gayatri Mantra.
Lovely.
Gayatri Mantra. Om Bhurubhuva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. This is the entire Gayatri Mantra. I know you know it very well. It's very well known here in India because it's very powerful mantra for connecting to our divine aspect.
And one final question from you, from my side, is voice and mantras. And I heard within your program there's a vocal element to it. And could you explain a little bit about the importance of voice, these mantras, and how vocals play an energy in healing or in our transformation?
Mm. Basically, every thought we have is resonating in the entire existence, universe, eternally.
Okay.
Every single thought we have is there.
Scary.
That's why it's very important being aware about our thoughts and nurturing thoughts that are healthy for us, and stop giving attention to those thoughts that are harmful, no? That are toxic for us and for other people. That's black magic.
Correct.
We have toxic thoughts about other people. That's black magic. And it's there eternally. Okay? So when we chant mantras, we are sharing through our experience as humans eternally to the entire existence certain things,
Wow.
certain energies that are resonating there forever. So we are nurturing the whole universe with that. And of course, ourselves, we are attracting that. Because everything we give, we get back, right?
Right.
So we are manifesting that. And we are resonating with that. If our frequency is here and the mantra's frequency is here, meanwhile we chant the mantra, we attune with that. And mantras are mostly about reminding who we are, being able to connect with our truth, and developing certain talents and gifts that are there for us, waiting to be developed and awakened, right? So this is the mind. Imagine that if the mind and the thoughts has that power, imagine the power that has our voice. You can change the mood of someone through your voice.
I usually irritate people when I sing.
That's black magic.
Oh, no, don't. That's black magic.
When we tease people, when we abuse people, when we spread that, we will receive that back. So it's important that if we are aware about our thoughts, also it's more important being aware about our words.
Words, yes.
Because we are creating through our voice and through our thoughts. And if we chant mantras, that's resonating more. Like the resonance of that is bigger. And actually, when we sing, when we use our voice, mostly singing, we stimulate a nervous that is called vagus nerve.
The vagus nerve.
Vagus, yes. That's the perfect pronunciation. So that nerve is totally related to our health, mostly mental health, but mental health and physical
health is very related.
Yes. So mixing music, wellness, or well-being, and singing, it's just a merge of so much magic.
Yes.
It can go wrong, Music is something. Tell me, do you know someone that doesn't like music?
No. In 99% of the resumes, if you'll ask hobbies, people will say music.
So we can like different music, but we all like music.
Yes.
Because music is vibration, in a rhythm. So we are attuning, we are synchronizing with the cycles of the entire universe. It's a rhythm.
But I think on this, do you have any questions which you would like to answer? Anything else you'd like to talk about?
I'm feeling satisfied.
Lovely, lovely. It was such a pleasure having you at Avia and doing this podcast with us. And I hope everyone has enjoyed this episode, and thank you so much for coming.